Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Patrick McCloskey, and I'm a communications specialist for TE's Global Engineering and Technology community, and today's host for this Tech Talks webinar. For those of you who are new to Tech Talks, this series highlights groundbreaking technology designed by and for TE's tech entrepreneur. Now, throughout this ongoing webinar series, we will look at innovation around the Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, 5G, vehicle-to-everything connectivity, and more. But today's webinar, we're focused on machines and how TE is enabling smarter and more connected applications. And to do that, well, we've brought in our experts. I'm happy to introduce Chris Zimmerman, Kevin Brown, and Robert Sanchez to discuss market trends, design considerations, and also product solutions, and of course, why you should partner with TE as well. So welcome, Chris, Kevin, and Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we begin, a few quick notes for our audience. As always, we welcome your feedback questions, which you can submit through the Q&A box on your screen. We'll be sure to leave some time at the end to address them. Also, in the resources box, you'll find links to learn more about our solutions discussed today. Of course, you can read more about the speakers by clicking on the speaker bio icons at the bottom of your screen, including their contact information to follow up with them directly. Also, at the bottom of your screen, you can share comments directly on Twitter and LinkedIn, so you can be social there. And lastly, within the next day, you will receive an email with a link to replay today's conversation. So no need to write anything down. You can just focus on it because there'll be a copy sent to you. So again, we're going to get started here, and Chris is going to get us started off by talking about machine market trends. Chris, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Patrick, and welcome again to our guests. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your workday to attend TE Connectivity's Industrial Machines webinar. Well, we are certainly living in some unprecedented and challenging times, not only as a nation, but also as a member of the global community of nations. From lifestyle and workplace modifications resulting from the pandemic to customer sentiment shift from brick and mortar to online shopping, to an increased interest in protecting the environment and creating safer and more sustainable production processes. These trends are creating fundamental and transformative changes in where and how we produce and deliver goods and services to the world. No greater evidence of these trends can be witnessed than on our manufacturing plant floors, where investments in predictive maintenance capabilities, virtual and augmented reality, and enhanced industrial communication speeds with Ethernet and 5G networks are occurring at an unparalleled rate. Technology adoption curves that historically averaged 7 years are now averaging 2 to 3 years in the industrial space. Take, for example, predictive maintenance. One of the most critical functions for today's machines is the ability to sense, collect, and act upon data that can prevent machine breakdowns and limit downtime. Over the past 5 years, there has been an explosion of companies specializing in asset management software and hardware tools, allowing operators or site managers to optimize maintenance tasks in real time, preventing major failures from occurring, minimizing disruptions to production, and extending the life of the machinery. Similar trends and advancements in virtual and augmented reality have also been witnessed over the last several years. According to Industrial Machinery Digest, 1 in 3 manufacturers either already uses or plans to use virtual reality technology within the next 3 years. And similar usage rates and adoption plans appear for augmented reality technology as well. Not only are engineers using virtual reality and augmented reality technology for product design and development, these technologies are also proving to be useful for safety and manufacturing skills trainings, maintenance, repair of equipment and operations, and remote collaboration amongst team members. And tying all these new technologies together with equipment and industrial devices is the integration of faster communication speeds on the plant floor. Heavy investment is taking place in industrial communication space by way of 10 gigabit Ethernet and 5G wireless communications for smart manufacturing. With more automation, artificial intelligence, IIoT, collaborative robots, and virtual and augmented reality on the manufacturing floor, the need for real-time data to make business decisions will continue to increase. Data connectivity built into machines will increasingly rely on 5G. Why? Because 5G offers wireless flexibility, high bandwidth capabilities, low latency, and high reliability. 5G enables network machines and equipment to communicate wirelessly with each other and with back-end systems in ways that were previously not possible. The recent outbreak of COVID-19 has significantly increased the sense of urgency for machinery manufacturers to evaluate and implement these emerging technologies. The manufacturing and machinery industry has had to rapidly adapt to the market realities being shaped by an increase in customer demand for convenience purchasing for both commodity and non-commodity products. Consumers expect the products they purchase online to be readily available and on their doorsteps within 24 hours of purchase. This rapid shift in digital trends has become the new normal and universally considered the minimum threshold for companies planning on entering a new market or venturing into a new geographic region. Additionally, recent calls to repatriate manufacturing and production capabilities to the United States, in conjunction with the emerging requirement for companies to establish a global manufacturing service and production footprint to support regional and local customer requirements, will impact the need for new production floor equipment. But regardless of where these plants are located, the new equipment must meet the rigors of the production floor environment while also addressing the increased technology demands, employee safety requirements, remote access to real-time production and equipment performance data, and do it all with an eye towards earth-friendly processes. The global and regional trends driving these technologies are clear and creating stronger business justifications for companies to upgrade the machinery and production equipment in their manufacturing facilities. There is no doubt the future is bright, and these are exciting times for manufacturing and machinery equipment makers. And with that, I will turn it over to Kevin Brown for him to share his thoughts on production or product solutions from TE.
Well, thank you, Chris. And as Chris mentioned, he went through the overall market focus for our Tech Talk today. And if you look in the center of the screen in the orange hub there, you can see the key products that we're focusing for our efforts in the marketing campaign on these machine applications. So what you can think of is many of the products that are used in manufacturing facilities that help you make other products. And our interconnects and antennas and many other products can help accomplish a lot of the things that Chris was talking about in terms of the industry trends. When you're thinking about TE Connectivity's product portfolio and how it fits into those applications, you can look at the right-hand side for the key product benefits. Areas that you may need additional sealing, reliability is critical for performance. There may be some space-saving concerns. You could be thinking in terms of the manufacturing process, and Chris mentioned repatriating some of the manufacturing back to the U.S., which is driving some semi-automated or manufacturing simplification of the process to allow the products to be manufactured back here in North America. And most importantly, obviously, is the safety, to look at products that are easy to use, reliable, and are safe both for the manufacturing process and the end customers. On the left-hand side, you can see the high-level products that Robert Sanchez is going to go into some more detail discussing here in just a moment. But please keep in mind that TE has a very broad portfolio, and this is just a highlight of a few things that we're going to talk about today. You can see at TE.com that we have an offering in antennas for Wi-Fi communications, sensors for temperature, pressure, humidity, a wide variety in that portfolio, as well as some electromechanical products, transformers, switches, and things like that. So we don't have time to cover that full portfolio today, but keep in mind we have our TE.com website as well as a wide range of field sales engineers available to help you as a distributor representative or at an end customer to answer any of the technical questions that you may have. Looking into a little more detail in terms of our product offering, we have products that are rated in the various IP standards. There's also offerings there available for mil-spec and other automotive application requirements that are there. And that data is available on the product data sheets online. And again, our field sales personnel can help you determine the right product to fit those needs. As we look at simplification, we have a broad portfolio of insulation displacement contacts, or IDC. This allows you to terminate the electrical connection without pre-stripping the wire insulation. Makes it more of a one-step assembly process and can give you a high reliable but yet very automated process as well. We also have products that have the housings preloaded, whether they are an ultrafast pre-insulated or housings that are staged on the terminals that can be semi-automated or fully automated process to make that less labor intensive, easier to manufacture, and ultimately reduce your cycle times. Reliability is key, both in terms of the consistent application of the products, and we do have application tooling available to support the reliability and end performance of the products. But we want to ensure that if you have high power, high operating temperatures, require secondary locking features, or you're in a high vibration environment, that our products are there and available to meet those needs of those applications. Miniaturization is key going forward as we look to keep the application small but add more and more features. So if you are looking at existing circuit boards and need to add that IIoT features, we look at providing the interconnects that can help you save the space on the circuit boards and either reduce your cost or allow you to add more content into the board without increasing the overall size. And again, with safety, we're looking at two areas in safety when we talk about it. The first is obviously with your operators. We want to make sure that there's a low insertion force, decent pads on the end of the plastic housings that you're inserting to make sure that we're not causing any ergonomic issues and problems there that ultimately can release to poor interconnect if they're not being pushed on fully. And we also have a variety of products that are rated to various flammability and heat and different current ratings and things like that to ensure that they're the right fit for those applications and we don't have any performance and potential safety concerns in the end applications. So with that, I'll turn it over to Robert and he can give you a little more insight on the products that we're going to review today.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. So again, thanks everybody for showing up today. Do appreciate that. So today I want to talk about some of the products that we're offering in this space with machines. So today we'll talk about some connector products. So we're engineered to reliable transmit data, power, and signal in the harshest environments under the most extreme use. So some of our key portfolio benefits would be the IP ratings, so IP65 to IP69K. So for the protection offerings, also high power and temperature options. So anywhere when it comes to temperature, you could be anywhere from 105 C up to 200 degrees C and greater, just depending on those applications and the needs of those particular requirements. Also, broad portfolio of offerings. When it comes to connectors, there's various wire-to-wire, wire-to-board, wire-to-assembly, wire-to-display, to other components throughout the whole machine space. So whenever you're looking at certain connections, you always want to think about TE because we do have a wide variety, also a large portfolio of product offerings. Glow wire tested solutions to ensure that those housings of those connectors don't fail due to heat, extreme temperatures within those applications. Also various insulation offerings when it comes to flammability requirements or UL, VL requirements, various color offerings as well. Miniaturized solutions. So some of our connectors, such as the photo on the bottom left there, are very small in size, very close pitch for size and space savings. Also polarized housings and latching mechanisms to ensure that they are not mated improperly. Not only the housings themselves, but also the internal portions or the silos within the connectors themselves will be polarized. And a lot of times the contacts themselves will be polarized into the housings to ensure that they don't get mated or inserted into the housings either upside down or in the wrong position. And when it comes to positions, it's anywhere from one position up to 240 positions, just depending on the application and the type of termination needed for those particular wires and cables. And the center lines, of course, this is just a portion of the center lines available, but 0.6 millimeter up to 7.62. We even have larger, just all depending on the actual current ratings that those connectors will require. And the gauge sizes as well, 30 gauge to 8 gauge. So you want to just take a straight signal wire for low current up to, some high current and high power, and obviously you need those larger gauges as well. And then the voltage ratings from 50 volts up to 600 volts, and sometimes up to 1,000 volts depending on the application and those connector needs. And like I mentioned earlier about the flammability requirements, that's very, very needed these days. And a lot of, as we see the trends go into smaller, more confined areas, you'll need those flammability requirements because things do tend to get much hotter and so forth. So we want to make sure you protect those with the right wires, the right insulation on those connectors. And again, the operating temperature is 25 degrees C up to 110 C. We also have some up to 150 C and higher. I mentioned about the various approvals, UL, IP rating, glow wire, CSA, VDE, all the required approvals that are needed in various applications. And then the available configurations, I mentioned wire to wire, wire to board, board to board, cable to board, just a wide list of applications so that you can have basically a one-stop shop when it comes to connectors within TE to ensure that you have everything you need. So now let's talk about terminals and splices. So we have a wide family of terminals and splices, whether it's going to be pre-insulated or non-insulated, closed barrel or open barrel. So there's a difference in those. Open barrels, we can actually see the wire as it's been crimped to make sure that you actually have the right crimp height on your terminals, but also your closed barrel, which a lot of those are going to be machine type of terminals where the wires are inserted and crimped down, but also it crimps the entire barrel body itself over that wire, just to ensure reliability and also tensile strength on that. So with this, ergonomic-friendly solution is designed for high retention and also low insertion force. Kevin, I mentioned earlier about insertion force is very key, especially when you're working in a manual process or manual production line where people are installing terminals manually. You want to ensure that there's enough insertion force to where it's not going to force or cause any pain or any strain on the operators themselves. You want to ensure that they do have a low insertion force when they insert onto the mating parts that they will lock into position as well. And also, it's offered a wide range of types and sizes. So pre-installation, as I mentioned, and uninsulated options, high temperature solutions. So anywhere from, up to 150 C are going to be the typical high end of those solutions. And also with application tooling, do we have crimp tools? And also the tooling and applicators needed for this. A lot of times the applicators are going to be a second thought, So you make sure that we think about that on the front side to ensure that you have the tooling on hand when you're going into production. Various plating options as well. So depending on the need, for mating cycles and so forth. Also fretting, depending on your plating thicknesses and so forth, is going to offer, tin, gold, and bronze and so forth over the brass contacts. Straight flag configurations, vibration resistance. That's where the positive locking mechanisms come into play to ensure that during vibration that the parts themselves will not tend to vibrate off their mating parts. I mentioned about low insertion force, but also high retention. Although you may have low insertion force, so the amount of force it takes to mate those onto certain tabs and so forth, but make sure it does have a high retention so it does not tend to slide off the tabs or demate from their mate due to vibration. A lot of these types of terminals have locking mechanisms internally to ensure that. And also mil-spec certified product offerings. Some photos there on the left, the bottom right. The bottom right photo is going to show various types of terminals and also maybe some splices in there. But we do a lot of commercial as well as the military offerings. On the right side of the page here, wire ranges. So 26 gauge, so very fine wire gauge up to a 10 gauge for power. And sometimes a little bit larger than that as well, maybe an 8 gauge, typically for power. So I mentioned about the operating temperature, 105C up to 250C. The voltage rating, 250 to 600 volts. And also the plating itself, nickel, tin, silver, unplated, pre-tinned. So there's definitely plenty of offerings there for the application. The types of materials, brass, copper, steel, copper alloy, phosphorus, bronze, stainless steel, and nylon. And the terminal shapes, it's very key because there's a wide range of different shapes in there. So flag receptacles, it's going to have that for the plating, the mating tab thickness, 110, 187, 250, just depending on the width and also the thickness of those. So it's always key to remember that when TE makes their terminals and splices, and there may be a competitor mating tab that's out there, but the width or even the thickness of that tab is very key because we do design these and engineer those specifically around TE's specifications. So a lot of times people will have some issues with mating, and those mates may tend to vibrate off, may not have a locking mechanism. Well, ours are designed to mate with a certain thickness of those tabs, or also a locking mechanism, little dimples inside it to make sure that it does a latch and lock, permanently. And also the approvals, UL, CSA, and IEC, as well as packaging. So packaging can be real, loose piece, small pack, or tape mounted. It all depends on what the production environment is going to look like. Okay. So we got relays. So relays, the portfolio provides high inrush capabilities and powerful switching needs. So some of those key portfolio benefits would be high temperature options, various models to support a range of loads, insulation systems such as UL Class F, designed to withstand extreme shock vibration, RoHS compliant, sensitive and standard coil options to accommodate various drive circuits, but also the current ratings. We just have a smattering of listing here from 3 amps up to 10 amps, but also we go 50 amps plus. It all depends on what that need's going to be. And so even with our relays, we have power PCB relays up to 16 amps, power PCB relays 50 amps and higher, force guided relays, panel plug-in relays, signal relays, high frequency and so forth, solid state, circuit breakers, transformers. It all depends. So we have a wide range of relay offerings that are out there. And obviously with the contact voltage rating, 250 VAC on those, but also the contact arrangement as well, 1 Form A, normally open. So there's a wide range of offerings that we have. Also the coil voltage rating, 3 amps up to, 3 volts up to 48 volts and 5 volts up to 48 volts as well. And the heat shrink tubing, I'm not sure what's going on here with this. I apologize. Oh, there we go. So the heat shrink tubing, again, we have a large range, one of the largest portfolios on the planet when it comes to shrink tubing products. Offer a wide range of single wall, adhesive lined or dual wall, and specialty products that seal, protect, insulate, organize, and offer strain relief. So a lot of those benefits would be electrical insulation, also thermal insulation, provides strain relief and protects against mechanical damage and abrasion. It's also offered a single wall, obviously with the dual wall specialty for mechanical protection, such as our HFT 5000, the heat shrinkable fabric, superior abrasion resistance, your non-typical type of a shrink tubing product, or even pull-on braiding, what we call our VersaFlex, expandable sleeving. A wide range of operating temperatures from 105 C up to 200 degrees C. Also high-quality solutions for harsh environments, so chemical, fluid, flame, all resistance in harsh environments, as well as a mil-spec offering to our product. We have a variety of shrink ratios, 2 to 1 up to a 5.6 to 1, and some specialty products can be an 8 to 1 ratio, just depending on what that application will need. And then color options too. So if someone decides to have to identify the circuits based on color, not just have a color of black or one specific color, it's always nice to have a variety in there as well. And then the flammability ratings. So UL CSA, as well as excuse me, as well as the VW1 flammability, which is the most stringent, and then the FMVSS 302, a lot of times for ICT or automotive type of space. Those flammability requirements are very key. And then the size range we have from 0.8 millimeters up to 101 millimeters, so a little over 4 inches. We even have some parts actually up to 5 inches, even larger diameter, up to 17-inch diameter, just depending on the application for more rugged environments. Okay, and with that, I will pass it back to Kevin. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Robert. We'd like to wrap up here with one kind of short slide on why you should partner with TE Connectivity. And one of the most obvious is the extensive product portfolio. And we just touched the highlights on a few things today. You can definitely find our full portfolio on TE.com or any of your favorite distributor partner websites that will have most of our products offering and all the technical information, application specs, product specs, and customer drawings that you may need. We're also a long-term partner in the industry. TE has been around in this category for many, many years. Those of you that have been with us a long time can remember AMP or Tyco back in the day. But we do continue, similar to our roots back in the founding of the company, to invest in our research and development and spend more and more money, even in the downturns, to design new products that are going to meet the industry needs, as we talked about, whether it's performance, safety, ergonomics, and technical requirements. Our engineering expertise, I mentioned earlier that we have a wide group of field sales engineers that come from all the different business units within TE Connectivity that are available to help the distribution partners as well as any end customer that would need our support to answer questions, help design in products, solve any issues that you may have. And if those folks aren't able to solve the problem, we have engineering technical centers in all 3 major regions in the globe with product engineers, manufacturing engineers, quality specialists that can lend a hand and help with any of those requirements as well. And lastly, but not any less important than the others, is our global footprint. We have major manufacturing sites in all 3 of the predominant global regions. We have the sales services similar to what I talked about here in the Americas. They're available in Europe as well as in Asia to help go through those product portfolios. We can support you if your supply chain is global. We can help design it in, solve your technical problems in one region, and help the manufacturing and supply chain in the other areas. And most of our distribution partners are global as well. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time with us, and I will turn it back over to Patrick.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris, Kevin, and Robert, for your presentation and your insight on the smarter, more connected applications. We are at the top of the hour right now, almost here. So we want to again remind you that within the next day, you'll receive an email with a link to replay today's conversation. If you do have questions for Chris, Kevin, or Robert, you can reach out to the speakers of the event. You see all of their contact information on the screen, and so if you have questions for any of them, please feel free to email them directly, and they will get back to you on that. But thank you everyone for joining today. We appreciate everybody joining, and have a great rest of your day.